So this is episode 5 of the No Friendly Fire podcast. Today we're going to be talking about an interesting post on Reddit, among other things. We're going to be talking about just DU in general, but this is something that was posted, I think, yesterday and is really interesting just in general. So look forward to talking about that with 902, BootyBonzai, and Drax. So guys, welcome in.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate you hosting.
Thanks
Yeah,
for having
letting
me.
me come in.
Yeah, guys. So I know we had already gotten pretty into a conversation as we were getting ready to start about this post. And so just to frame this up, this is coming from Yamamushi, who is a former NQ developer. He just posted, hey, this is who I am, up on the Reddit, and said, ask me anything, an AMA post, and got some pretty intriguing questions from the general Reddit population. And so a couple of interesting takes, and I guess we'll start with what we were just talking about. So 902, we were talking about the Band of Brothers incident in Eve and how there's now a player council because the Band of Brothers was a little too close to the devs or vice versa. Whichever the case, it led to unfair advantages. So
Right. And so obviously enough, I mean, and this was 10 years ago at least now. It may be more, but so the effect, of course, is that it sort of became for every MMO dev unit in the industry, and I have friends that work in several companies in Montreal that are doing various things, and but it sort of became the de facto don't bloody do that. Yeah, there was a serious chill put on how much developers could be involved in the communities and the games that they were developing because of this nightmare where suddenly, people can just start yelling, well, the only reason they're doing well is because they get a developer.
yeah,
Right? It draws the entire validity of everything that's going on in an MMO into question if the community can just basically say, well, the only reason this particular organization is doing well is because they're getting favorites. And we've actually seen that here. I mean, I remember not long after I joined being told by someone that the only reason Legion was able to hold the cores was because one of them was a developer. So that one has already crept in on little flat feet in our community. So I'm not surprised that in the early days with Kickstarter money and all the cash that came in, because keep in mind that Kickstarter was more successful than they knew what to do with. I'm not surprised that the initial rules were more restricted than probably was needed. Because the last thing anyone wanted was to be putting up with any allegations of impropriety. For something that was run on a Kickstarter, where literally the money is all donated effectively.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I say, I can see the mistake. And I, as someone who has worked in IT and done various things, and run my own business, I do have that vague head scratch about like what the hell was going on. That when obviously policy changed and other people were coming in able to do that, any request this individual made was met with a no.
Yeah. Well,
and I'm not trying to throw rocks. It puzzles the hell out of me because it makes no sense. So yeah.
So you mentioned that we've had, a little bit of that leak into Dual Universe, and that was one of the questions directed to Yamamushi was, does that happen, essentially? As it tends to be Legion. I'm not, I'm completely indifferent. There was, Legion down the PvE boss, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here recently, a lot of folks said, "Hey, where was the heads up that we were close?" I think you can follow along, right, if you're looking at your PVE screen, right? But
it's literally push the F8 key and look at the bar. I've been actually keeping up, reading the progress and the information, and the lore that's been coming out just as much as playing the game because I think it's really well done. So. How I guess my question is, if you wanted to be there, how did you not know it was close?
and that's fair. So yeah, they do kind of. It's easy to see even now that that was the easy shot taken, but
Mm-hmm.
the retort is you could just mash F8 and you can see. So
Yeah.
um, so I'm kind of scrolling through the Ask Me Anything part. Yamamushi's background is interesting. He worked at NQ. He developed the Discord, or was heavy into that part. But at the end of the day, he was a guy who, quite frankly, just wanted to play the game, and it seemed that the way he frames it up here, that NQ made it hard for him to do that, or maybe
Yeah.
impossible in a legal way,
Mhm.
or a way that was right, I guess, where even when it was okay to do that, his situation never got corrected to where others that we know work there and they play the game. They play the game on their personal accounts, if you will. And so I guess that was the issue. But the take or the post was actually really just information that you can go
Mhm.
whatever way you want to go on it. He was just kind of telling it like it is. So some folks saying, "Hey man, it's good to see you. Long time no see." One asked for his accounts. That's always a thought I have when I see somebody's
Uh-huh.
not part of the. It's like, "Hey man, I really could use your stuff." I'm not just saying that. Like, it would be nice to have.
I was just looking. There's someone here was posting I remember you. You saved me one day when my ship was out of fuel. Thank you so much. It's like, yeah, this game is just any good community has moments like that where just the cool thing that happened is actually good news, not bad. So that's good to see.
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of good news, he does throughout the post. He does recognize what kind of game DU is, and that he still likes the concept or loves it even, and that he would
Mm-hmm.
recommend you play it even if you knew it had an end date. He would say it's an experience you can't get anywhere else. So that was
Yeah.
interesting. That was interesting to read, and yeah, so guys, in the comments section, if you want to hear more about this article, we kind of were just kind of opened up with it. I guess the takeaway is, if you want to see some interesting take on Dual Universe, it really is a little different from what you're used to, and you know what you're used to because you see it all the time. Go check out Reddit. Take a look at the post. It's a pretty interesting read from Yamamushi. And
Yeah, I'm actually looking at his comments about the way the internal economics are written, and it's actually really interesting that, as well as the idea that the original idea for the game was that people were going to be stuck on Alioth for months before the idea had been months before you'd be able to get your first ship out of atmosphere and doing something interesting. Um, and now, yeah, if you're not flying on day one, you're probably just taking your time.
can I
That's interesting.
I don't know, and I've told the story, but when I first started, it took me 2 weeks to fly, and that's because I was just not paying attention. But after I figured it out, as soon as you land, you take off the two wings on the pod you dropped in on, attach them to your speeder, and voila. So it's amazing how fast you can go when the game's min maxed, and I suppose there's a lot of measures they took. I think schematics was talked about in there that kind of
Yeah.
slows you down, but I honestly, I think that would have been just as fun of a game if it was designed to where it takes you months to get off a valley off. For me, I don't know about the rest of you guys. What do you guys think?
Booty, what do you think?
Oh, what was the question?
Booty, hold on, hold on,
Sorry.
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Hold on, Booty. Look, this is your first time on the podcast official, right? I talk to you all the time, but we've done this every time, so let's do it this time. Booty Bonzai, you're over at PVR. You got a ton of stuff
Yeah.
going on. I'm ready to talk to you about after we get through Yamamushi here. But how did you get started, Booty? How did you even find out about Dual Universe? And then what do you got going on right now? Even though I probably talk for hours about what you have going on, but it'd be fun to hear it from you. How'd you get started, man? And what have you got going on?
Well, I saw an ad on, I think it was YouTube or Facebook, and it was for alpha, and I really wanted to do it in alpha, but I passed and I waited, and as soon as beta came out, I started at the beginning of beta, and it's just like I played Star Wars Galaxies for the whole time that game was alive, and I
Great
really
game.
liked the game features that it had and the community building, and I had one of the top communities in that game, and I was always looking for something that could match to that. And when I found DU, I fell in love with it. So that's pretty much how I got started, and then I started my first org, and it slowly died because nobody really wanted to work together in that org with the people I had in it. They were great people, but they just didn't really. They had that solo player mentality, and it died off. And then I met Tony, and there was a discussion in general chat about starting a racing org, and the racing stuff was just getting going, and I never really got heard about it, so I was like, oh, this sounds interesting. And so I got with Tony, and I mean, there was like 12 other people in the general chat, and they were all wanting to do it. So I got it started, but it was only me and Tony. But then we got J Rod, and we got this a really cool guy named Trey Nebular, which doesn't play anymore. But the J Rod, me, Tony, we started PVR, and we did a lot of great things in beta, and when they announced the wipe and release of the game, we started making plans, and we've been following our roadmap pretty close to what we wanted. I mean, it's not exact. We had to make a few changes in there, but yeah, we're all having fun and doing great things. So
Yeah, the city's coming along. You mentioned racing now. PVR's. Hey, we got a race today. Do you know when we're racing? I'm sure PVR is going to be there, but I think we're at Wicked Wonderland today.
yeah, I just heard it's later today. Van
Okay.
Ark would be
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah, I hope he pops back in. We'll be there though. But Matt, you are currently working on a track styled after the Indianapolis 500,
500. Yes.
the popular track, and it is in the middle of the city. Well, I say it's in the middle of the city. It's in the city. Eventually, will be engulfed by the city, I'm sure. So that's awesome to see, man. And Tony's got this awesome racer that you guys are planning to use there. That's been a huge undertaking, and we're not even getting into the Bull Arena, just the city in general. There's so much stuff going on there. But where do you guys see? When's the first race, man?
It's hard to say because it's with the ore prices, being as low as they are, it's harder and harder to make the money needed to build fast. So it's kind of slowed things down a little bit, but hopefully soon, hopefully in a month. We still have to put we got 2 turns and most of the 2 straightaways done. Just really have to work on the other end and put the curved walls in. And then I think it'll at least be raceable, but we plan on putting grandstands all over it and a whole infield and pit area, and it's going to be really detailed. So
I look forward to it, man. Look, you got all kind of stuff, and you mentioned a timeline and that you guys are tracking, but there's this crazy stuff spawning out of that timeline. Like, Tony's working on the Titanic, and Star Watch is a thing now, and it's already kind of pretty ingrained into what DU is. So it's just awesome to see out there, man. Glad to have you, and I appreciate your welcoming attitude towards Nitro City. Where if you want to build it, I said that earlier on stream when I was just hanging out. I've got this tile close to Market 6. It'd be cool to have some towers on, but if you want to build a tower right now in a city that's already there, BootyBonzai is wanting you to do it in Nitro City, and there's a lot of real estate opening up with this track. It's just a ton of opportunities to have an awesome scene. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Appreciate you guys out there.
So to mention a little bit about Nitro City and what our vision of that is that we originally planned, we wanted to have a 19 hex flower city, and we just didn't want it to belong to PVR. We wanted it because PVR started as a community project. We wanted it to be open to everyone. So allowing people to build in this city that, you could be in another org or a solo player or whatever. You can come put your name on your building, your org name, whatever, kind of advertise it. But we wanted Nitro City to kind of be like the jewel of the jewel city of DU. That anybody can come and build something and know that it's going to be there till the end of the game. It's always going to be there. So if you quit the game and come back, it's still going to be there 10 years later or whatever.
There you go, man. I love that. That's you see, that's a lot of people's biggest fear, right? All the energy, if they decided they want to, I don't know, maybe got to go do something for 6 months, who knows? But they hate the thought of all their work and effort being potentially wiped away. But if you build a Nitro City, I can confidently say, Booty, I'm sure you'll agree, as long as the game is up and the lights are on, your stuff is there,
Yeah.
Nitro City. So
because everything in that city's in our org name, and we're committed to, like, protecting it. We're going to protect your stuff. And it's mostly for show. There, a lot of it's doesn't really have any purpose. We wanted to have the races and stuff around it, like the Bull Arena and the Oval Track and Star Watch and all that stuff, and we'll have some boat races. But it's supposed to be more of a visual spectacle. We wanted to build a city that had streets that you could actually drive around in, because one thing in beta is, like, there were some cities in beta, but you flew there and then you just jetpacked around. Well, we wanted to have like a driving experience, so you could drive through the streets, kind of like get that GTA 5 Los Santos feeling.
yeah,
where you can actually drive around, and actually it's starting to get big enough to where you almost have to drive around. But
yeah, I love it, man. I've drove around there for pleasure and for utility, so it really is it's conducive to that. It's an awesome place. We had the dome out there one time. That was one of the coolest synergies when you talk about a pop, something that's hot, popular, one of the main attractions, kind of meeting one of the main attractions, man. The dome in Nitro City. If you're a builder like me in this game and alias your home, that's like the best you could get. So when do you think we'll have another dome, man? What do you think? When should we do it?
So the Grev Dome, with Angry Dad, we kind of had agreement that the Nitro City would be like the Grev Dome's like home base, since it was like it's a ship and it's mobile. But it was supposed to be the home base of it, and we're actually we were gonna AD was wanting his guys to build a tower and put the dome on top of it, but like a landing pad. But since Grev left the game, and it's kind of hard to get AD. He pops in all the time for the domes, but so I don't know what the future of that is going to be. I know Tony and I have been talking about building our own version of the dome, just so that it is another attraction.
This is always there, man. You know what? Since I am now, one of AD's guys, let me see if I can. Let me see what's up, and I'm sure I could get Grev support on that. Let's see if we can get this thing parked here when it's not. It's a logistical thing. I'm sure that AD's gotta, and here's the thing about AD and his resources that I've kind of watched happen just kind of over there. A lot of his somebody is nice moves. Who is that flying around? Oh, that's 1K, my dude. 1K.
Yeah,
I
was about to say it's gotta be 1K.
One of my neighbors. But dang, 1K, I lost my train of thought. 1K.
Angry Dad and a scarcity resource.
So with Daz not being there, Miss not being, the guys that like make it go, because what they've done, no one person I don't think could make it go. So a lot of that now is kind of on his shoulders. But man, I am in CLAT and I'm in PVR, so it seems like I could be the guy that makes this
You can be
deal
the
happen.
bridge.
Because I got to tell you, the dome looks beautiful, and like the spot where it goes, the buildings that have risen around it, it's just absolutely fantastic realization of what this game can be, where you have an event space in a place. And I've seen this. Okay, I'm ranting, guys. Jump in here. This isn't mentioned in the Yamamushi post, but I saw in the Discord chat, like, all these buildings, they're just static and they really don't do anything. They don't. But if you've seen the dome, or if you've raced on a racetrack, or if you took a submarine, or I don't know, there's just so many ways that the voxels mean stuff. But the dome in Nitro City is kind of the epitome of that. It's like the realization of everything you could do with voxels for me. And so I love it, man. I can't wait to see it back. But I think, yeah, man. Let's see if we get the Grev Dome park there. I don't know about a tower. I don't know about that part, but at least logistically getting it over there when it's like not on location. Let me see about that one, man.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that both the Dome and Nitro City do is it's not just a voxel showcase. It's a denial of limitation. In that I look at like the idea of even building the Thunderdome and then writing an entire game mode inside a video game to support it, and then making it the social spectacle of the community 2 nights a week. Like, I don't think I ever would have even thought of that, let alone sat down and asked the question, so how do you write that software, right?
Yeah.
Likewise, the idea of the Grand Prix racing and the F1 series racing, and then, you know, all of the other racing modes that have spawned out of that, that is literally people saying, hey, that's a really nice video game you got there. Hang on, apparently you like video games, so I'm going to take your video game and write some video game in your video game. And it's just, I'm just sitting here just absolutely gobsmacked at the creativity I see. Just that other people just casually throw out there. And it's like, yeah, I've said it a few times talking to Drack online, was that I'm glad I hadn't met Drack or found out about Hadron when I first started, because I'd have been intimidated all to hell. And that's sort of my first reaction. The last time I did a buzz of Nitro City, I'm just looking at this massive sprawl thing, and it's like, a developer has not laid a hand on any of this. You can't do that in any other game. Like, if you want a city in practically any other game that's got more than one player in it, you need a developer involved. You know? Yeah, it's stunning. A little daunting, you know? Daunting in many cases, but it's also, I find it incredibly inspiring personally.
Absolutely. Hey,
none of it happened overnight, right?
No. None of it happened over weeks, honestly, at this point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, building slow. It's hard work.
Hey, BioExile's got a question in the chat. How do I switch my active container? Y'all hook a brother up. Sounds like he's in need. He did the sad cry face. So
yeah, Control I.
There it is.
If you just hit your I key, you get your inventory. You'll see your 2 containers open. Switch to the container you want to have your primary, and over on the right hand side, there's a bunch of little icons. One of them looks like a pair of chain links. That is the set linked container as default container. I tend to do that one. In fact, actually,
at a risk of sound like a complete noob. Control I. What was that again? What does that
do? It sets your link container to be your default in and out.
No freaking way.
Yeah, see that right there? Your link container is now your active container.
So it switches your link container to the link container you're linked to? For your nano pack back and forth?
Yeah. So in other words, like if you're like for me, if you're harvesting raw material, for example, you could just have it go straight into the container as opposed to into your backpack and then drag and drop.
That's the hotkey to switch your link container.
Yeah. Control I. Yeah.
All this time.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a jerk and point out to you, if you mouse hover over the little icon, it actually even says Control I.
Which of all the things, I got to give a shout out to them, at least telling you, hey, if you wanted to do this, you would be the hotkey to do this.
Yeah.
Well, they never told us that you can frickin' make a crafting queue in your nano pack. You can
What?
queue up.
It's in
multiple
the
things in your nano pack.
tutorial.
That wasn't in the tutorial.
It is, because that's how I found out when I started.
And this is one of the elite builders in the game, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't craft a whole lot. Did you know you can make a crafting tutorial, AK?
Yeah,
I mean a crafting queue.
yeah, but dude, I just found out crazy stuff like a matter of weeks ago myself. I can't remember the last thing, but I remember I used to move stuff like by clicks, and Randu was watching me. He's like, hey, you could mash control, and it would click over like it would step over like way more at a time. And so it hadn't been that long ago it's been like a year, but I learned. What I'm saying is, there's stuff I learn like that in this game all the time. Where I'm like, how in the world have I been playing this long? And I didn't know that,
Well, I mean, because if you're comfortable with it, who cares? Just you're busy doing other stuff, right?
That's right.
Just
busy throwing out banger ships, man. You don't need to know that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just gonna say, my sweetheart is a documentation writer for software, and she says, the only software that anyone ever reads the instructions is bad software.
Hey.
But that is the software that you need the best documentation for, right? So you get this really weird sort of I don't want to call it a tension, but this sort of dichotomy where the likeliness of bad software, including great documentation, is pretty low. But yeah.
So I'm getting back to this Yamamushi post. This is the question of, I'm the happy-go-lucky dude. I don't care. I'm just here to play and have fun. But the one I do wonder is, hey, how long will it be around? First, I don't care. I'm just going to keep going until they tell me I can't anymore, and I'll be sad and go do something else. But I wonder how long this thing will go. Is it sustainable? So that was kind of addressed. And the take was, I was gonna read it to you. As far as, hey, here, let's do this. Do you think the NQ are going to keep DU alive? There's the nuts and bolts, a very short question. And here it is. Here's the response from Yamamushi. I think some people are working on it, but NQ themselves said they're working on 3 other projects right now. It's hard to see how they could do that and keep working on improving DU the way everyone wants with the size of a company they are. I'd love for them to succeed, but that's nobody's responsibility but theirs now. So that doesn't say one way or another. It just says like, hey, it's on them to keep it up. So what do you guys think? You think they can with what's going on, with the people we have, with folks doing what they do? You think this thing's going to keep going? I know it's a heavy question.
I think it depends on the determination of the people they have in control of it, right? Like, if they're taking some of their other people off the project, off of DU, working on other projects, that's perfectly fine. But if they tie their hands with the people they leave in the game, the people they leave in charge of it, if they tie their hands and say, oh, well, we can't do that because we got all this investment in this other things. We can't push a whole lot into this, in the DU at the moment. We're investing into this and going full blast into this. Then the game's just not going to succeed, because it's still a game in its infancy. And if they're removing control and the ability to grow the game to something new, then it's going to fail, because right now it's unstable as it is, right? Like, it's losing people, and new people are coming in, and it's not failing yet. But if you're taking key people off of it and not and leaving other people on there, but not giving them the tools they need to grow the game, add new content, or locking them up so they can't actually do things, it's going to hinder the growth of the game, and that's a bad thing.
Yeah, it's tricky. He also goes on to say, when it's talking about addressing even what you got now, how do you get this thing polished up? Or even, some folks can range from thinking this is a tech demo to, oh no, the game's gonna get 3 million players in them 3 months or something, whatever. We were having fun with that a little while back, but at the release of some planet. But you know, he says it's a catch-22 if, like you said, if you're restricted on resources, you don't have the resources to do the things you need to keep the game at a state that retains the players you do have, so that you can get some momentum going. It's this vicious cycle where if they're continuing to restrain resources, you can't even sustain what you've got. So I just wonder, I hope that they will at least keep it where it is. I see people saying with confidence, I don't want to say often, but I've seen where folks say, and folks that I would think they might have some insight, they say that, they're going to keep it up. That's the short of what they say. So they're going to keep it up. You don't need to worry about that. And I don't, but I just wonder in what state, and as long as I'm continuing to have fun, that's great. But there's a lot of folks who want more. It's tough to please everybody, but just keeping it up, that's all I'm asking for. Can we do that in the state it's in? And I think I'm here for the end then.
Yeah. From what it appears right now, it is definitely they've been keeping up, right? From what appears on the first at this moment, whoever is in charge of it, which I have an idea of who is actually in charge of it now, but the person that is in charge of it is definitely a right person to have, and I just hope that they keep up the momentum, because adding content to the game is new content, new things to add to do for players. That's what's going to keep the game fresh, and they desperately need to keep that growth. Good.
I think one of the easiest things that they could do is just add new elements. We've been playing with the same elements for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
They just added, more variety of chairs and just stuff, and I think it would keep it fresh. It'd be new stuff to craft, like maybe like curved canopies, quarter dome pieces where you can make domes, just new elements to just kind of where you could build new stuff.
I would love to see some variant items, like warp drive variants, where it's instead of a giant cylinder, it'd be like some type of like hex or something like that,
and different engine shapes. They could have the same statistics, same stats, but just
a variation.
Yeah, different shapes and stuff. You could have like long and thin, fat and short.
That's
so
great.
Just a little bit of I worked in Montreal for Montreal, Quebec, Canada for a while. For those of you who aren't sort of up on development in French cultures, it's a little bit different than a lot of people are used to with more typical North American development culture. One of those things that I know, and I know firsthand, is that a lot of both the French government in Quebec and the French government in France, as of 5 years ago, were offering R&D tax credits for developers and developer support people of 80% of salary. So a $60,000 developer, you'd get 48 grand back at the end of the year if you could, during an audit, demonstrate they had been doing something to make something new. And I literally worked for a company where literally we spent as much time justifying that we were doing something new as we did writing anything. Because that was just so absolutely crucial to keep getting the R&D credits. But the thing that's sort of worth pointing out in that paradigm is that at that point, Nova Quark is literally incentivized by the two places that the majority of their developers live to keep making new stuff for Nova Quark, for Dual Universe. Because as soon as they put the game in maintenance mode, in other words, they stop actively making new stuff for it, they stop getting the developer tax credit for those people. So your $60,000 a year developer starts costing you $60,000 a year instead of $12,000 a year. So you can really see how easy it is to say, we got to come up with something pretty, I don't care what it is, something we can slap your salary on the word research and development.
So I wonder, is that security for all those planets we haven't gotten yet? You know
I
what I
can
mean?
almost get. Let's just say that having worked in that space, that kind of I can absolutely guarantee it. The other thing too is that nothing fails quite like failure. And what I mean by that is, if they're in the process of trying to launch other products, the last thing you want is by the people who brought you the failure game Dual Universe as the advertising camp, right?
Yeah.
So if they've got if they've got three total other products they want to launch, they can't afford to let this game tank.
Hey, but let's
Nobody
look
went. Yeah, nobody went to play Blizzard World of Warcraft because World of Warcraft 1, 2, and 3 were all duds. Okay, that's not why that happened.
Yeah. Here's an interesting take from 1K. A bad state of a game is a lack of players, otherwise known as a dead game. Debatable, but even worse is a game that has no updates other than hot fixes, known as abandoned game. We're not there yet, are we, fellas? No way.
Oh hell
right?
no, absolutely no. We got a very recent update. In fact, keep in mind it's been less than 2 months since the last time we got a content update.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so here's why, and Devox says we are. Here's why I'm sympathetic, or maybe empathetic to both sides. I don't know if you can even call it sides, but when you look at the launcher that hasn't been updated since June, you kind of give them this is easy. Give me 10 minutes and we can put some stuff up there. There's the the pumpkin carving contest. We've got racing going on. There's stuff you could put up there. Patch notes maybe, but
birthday's coming up. Put that up.
Anything, right? So something as simple, because we know that's easy. That doesn't take hours to update. I hope they're doing something wrong if the launcher takes hours to update, but stuff like that is where you question, like, dang man, that's like obvious. That says June on the front of the very first thing you open up, and so that's where it's like, dang.
So and again, this is just one of these stupid places where I've actually seen that kind of thing. There is nothing more difficult to get approved from management than anything somebody else is going to, than somebody that is going to be extra corporate. Anything is going to be visible by a customer is the hardest thing to get approved. And anything that you're going to put into your launcher, no matter what it is, keep in mind, we've already talked, what if they were to put a message up celebrating Legion's victory over the PvE boss when we know that someone's already called BS on the fact that Legion did it?
Yeah.
Right? So to me, at least, no. The fact that what surprises me is that they have a spot to post news in the launcher other than patch notes. That's what surprises me, because it's gone out of style as a way of doing business. It really has. Because unless you have a marketing department, and I can guarantee you that a company with 65 employees working on 4 games concurrently does not have a marketing department. They don't have enough bodies. Then who's writing your copy? Well, your copywriters. Well, okay, but aren't they also the ones writing the lore, for example, and all the help texts and all the patch notes and? Yeah, almost by definition, the launcher is going to be the last thing that gets updated.
Yeah, and Yori says the complete radio silence doesn't inspire confidence. I will say, Nyota gets on, talks to us, but Nyota can't talk to us in the way that. So we're fine with Nyota, right? As a community manager and that type of communication. We like that engagement that we see coming from those guys. It's the about the game part, and this. And so I get that, and I think that's what Yori's talking about, where there's kind of radio silence as far as that part goes. We're all about the golden goober hunt, you know what I mean? We're all about Rubicon and Nyota showing up at racing, but we would like to know. I think it collective. I'm speaking for everybody. Would like to know about what. Okay, just tell us,
what's happening.
Yeah, just a little something. I think a roadmap. I get it. I've heard the both sides of that. I'm going to tell you guys, I'm totally releasing my roadmap for 2024. I don't know if that's a poke at the situation, a way to play off it, but I'm totally going to do some video like that in the most fun way. But for them, I hear the risk reward for a roadmap, but hey, man, if this is, I don't know, I think, I don't know. What do you guys think about the roadmap? Should we have one? Is it an expectation that we always at least know for how long out, Okay,
I like a roadmap.
My favorite roadmap is Star Citizen. Any other questions?
Oh God.
No,
No, I mean,
Should I
Avoid
start
that.
Googling now?
no,
avoid
just
that.
the only thing I can tell you about the roadmap that's been published by Star Citizen is it's wrong. It's never been right.
Never been
Another
right.
one that was a classic example of that was No Man's Sky. Does everyone remember the release condition of No
Yeah.
Man's Sky in spite of a
I've heard
roadmap?
stories. I've heard
All
stories.
the things considered, though, the roadmaps that NQ has put down, for the most part, they have achieved.
Yeah, they were good.
They kept
The
pretty
other
close to their roadmap.
I think they
And
did.
the other thing is that NQ Nyota has said on this podcast that they're actually vaguely keeping an eye on what's being said in general chat, in various forums and stuff like that. And I don't know how many times I personally had an argument with somebody to the point that I just put the person on ignore because they clearly didn't want to hear different. That you can't, it doesn't matter if they publish a roadmap; they're just going to lie to us anyway. It's like, no, the problem is if they put a roadmap, they're going to commit to it, and then they've got to allocate no, they wouldn't do it anyway. You can't trust them. They lied to us about this, they lied to us about, and then they go into the usual laundry list of every time that they, quote, lied. The fact that it's been 3 different companies later just doesn't factor in. But I can completely understand why internally, if you got, 65 people cut, call it 5 ways because you've got, 4 development teams and then an administration management team. Let's say that wouldn't be hard to figure. So 60 divided by 4 is what, 15? There's at most 15 people doing everything that needs to happen for Dual Universe, including keeping the servers up, blah, blah, blah. I can completely see their disinterest in posting a roadmap and then hearing nothing but you missed by 2 days.
Well, so hey man, so every community, I don't know what happened, man, and I feel lucky. I feel lucky as a gamer. Like when GoldenEye was released, nobody was asking about patch notes for like that stuff didn't exist. So I'm still feel like I live back in that blissful state of being a gamer where that shit don't matter to me. Sorry, but I don't care. But I understand in this day and age why it does. But for this game, man, folks taking it out on them. And that was talked about, the language that JC used in particular, where and we get back to the wipe stuff, but look, I think we all love JC, right? He was a dreamer, he played the game, and I think he shared a lot of stuff he wished for the game, and he was dreaming, and it's okay to dream, and a lot of folks made that out to be that's what he promised that this game would be, and I think that's unfortunate. But having said all that, man, they didn't do themselves any favors with a lot of things that were communicated out, and the community is just, man, the community really wants answers about a lot of things. Some things that happened and were said like years ago, and that's where I get back to. I don't know what happened 2 years ago. One time, McDonald's didn't get my order right 2 years ago, and it cost me like $15, but I didn't. Like, I still go there. I still eat Big Macs. Yeah. So it's like, I can't be sour about something that happened so long ago. And you can't expect that from them now. You can't expect that from them now. So things are different from what those years were. Like you said, the development team is now very small. And I kind of am empathetic because I've been in situations, in business situations, where you think you're going to have enough money to do X thing. And then they say, well, you don't have that much money anymore, and you don't have that much time, so now you need to do this thing. We're going to call it that thing we told everybody it was going to be, but you need to do it with this much less and this much less time. So I'm empathetic to developers. They're just doing the best they can with what they have, I think.
Agreed.
So I get it, man. But I wonder, I wonder how we punch through. I wonder what does. I think podcasts like this is the way we can at least tell the story of the folks who really love the game. But at the same time, maybe we can be a conduit for what ultimately, understanding all of the parameters and the restrictions, what do we want? What do we really want? What could they give us realistically?
Well, I think Nyota said it best. You got 1,000 different players, and all the players have the expectation that they want this game to be what they want.
Yes.
And you have to just accept the game for what it is. It is what it is. Enjoy it and play it. And I think the game is highly playable. I mean,
Highly. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
it offers so much more than Minecraft, and look at how many people play Minecraft.
Man,
You
I
know,
will. I'll go. Yeah, that is wild. It's the most successful game, by the way. If you're not keeping score, and if you go check it out. Minecraft is the most successful game in gaming history by a long shot. On a
Yep.
number of metrics, you could talk about revenue, active accounts, whatever, in-game agents, whatever you want to say. This game is, in my mind, in my objective mind, I'm an alien that landed on planet Earth and looked at all the video games. I would say Dual Universe is what you graduate to from Minecraft.
definitely.
Epic
And
revolution that we're in this game and we're having discussions like this, limited resources, and just makes me wonder. And I've seen this with, oh man, I'm about to do this, guys, but let's get spicy. EA bought Maxis, the creator of SimCity, right? And they
Hell yeah.
they completely milked it and they squeeze and maximize revenue. And now there's a game called City Skylines that's taking all that revenue because EA squeezed too hard. And SimCity, if you play SimCity, you should play City Skylines. Yeah, SimCity is not.
Agreed.
It's not. It's not. It's just. It's gone. So I just wonder if NQ doesn't realize it. They have created the thing that a lot of folks want, and the fact that cat's out of the bag. That cat's out of the bag. So I feel like that guy who was so disappointed in SimCity Societies and SimCity 2015, but nevertheless, there was somebody who understood the void that had been created by the very game that created the player base, right? Which I feel like there's so much passion in this community that this cat's like too big to go back into the bag. So NQ can either understand what they have, objectively the graduation from the most popular game ever, they could be that game, or somebody else is going to be that game. It's just, I think we're at that. So, man, it would be awesome for this game to just be that game, and us not have to feel that way. But I don't. Again, I'm trying to speak. If we all had one voice, what would it sound like? If we could sit down with the CEO and just tell him. And what do you think about this, guys? How much can we do as a player base? Because I see some comments. Anubis, for me, Anubis says, I would rather have some communication, even if it was candid, than no communication just because it wasn't good news. I like that. And Devox says there's no indication that NQ wants the player base to increase. And I wonder about that because when I see the advertisements for the game, the limited few that I've seen, and I look at what we're actually doing in the game, you guys know there's a delta there. But what's weird is the stuff we've done in the game, and I feel this way, and you guys tell me, the stuff we've done in the game, man, I could point to Drax. I could point to so many folks that have just made things in the game. And then you talk about what people are doing in the game. There's so many cool things to show. How much can we do to encourage others to want to do this? And if we did, would those resources, that revenue increase, would it be put back in or would it be siphoned out? Getting the Devox point that, hey man, they've made this. They're not even trying to, outside of the folks whose job it is, NQ's kind of in another direction. What do you guys think about that? Zombies.
Well,
no zombies.
Okay, so first off, the whole idea of, they've got a company and they haven't got 100% of the company working on this one product, so it's clearly abandonware. Has anyone ever heard of a company called Microsoft? They do more than one product, it turns out. Like, that's not a problem. That's actually healthy. Like, you want diversification in a company. Because one-trick ponies, when they break their leg, can't do any other tricks, right? So I actually think it's a good thing that not all of Dual in Nova Quark is focused on Dual Universe. That's the first comment.
I just hope they don't break off. They don't take off more than they can chew, right? Like, like we've already said, we already know they're not a massive company. They're not Microsoft. They can't afford that. Microsoft has hundreds of people working on things, right?
Yeah.
We know that NQ is not a big company, so them saying, "Oh, we got X many projects going." It's a bit worrisome when they say something like that when we know that they're a small company and that, okay, so if that's the case, we know you have like 60 people or some shit, and you take, 30 or 40 of them off this project, and they're all separated up. I mean, what exactly are you going to achieve with a handful of people on different projects? Like, you can't achieve that much with only a handful of people. Or if you're crossing them over and saying, okay, I need you to do this on Dual Universe, but then I need you to do this on this game. Splitting their focus and stuff like that. That's not good either, though.
No,
That should be
most
worrisome.
companies don't work that way internally, though. If you're because project switching is incredibly inefficient.
Right.
That's a 5-6 man developer team who've got to support multiple products. Then but even there you wind up with somebody who's the resident jockey that handles product A, and somebody else does most of the stuff with product B. And the only time that those two are both ever working on the same product is when it's crunch time for one or the other of them. Then everyone, it's all hands on deck. But so for me, okay, let's go back to the idea that let's just be incredibly mean and say that, and by mean I mean conservative with the numbers. So I'd said probably 15 people working on DU. Let's say it's 7.
It's realistic.
7 people working 8 hours a day is 56 person hours a day. You multiply that by 7 is 350 person hours a week. You multiply that by 4 is 1,200 person hours a month. You can get a lot of work done with 7 developers
Definitely.
who's at 1,200 a month. The catch is that, and the catch is what they're doing isn't easy. And I know it's not easy because
fair.
we've seen another company not get it right. And that company is a little company called Facebook. I don't know if you've heard about them. They tried to create a competitor product called, what was it? It was I can't, literally, this is Michelle, name just blanked. Metaverse, thank you. Yeah, Metaverse, they can't even get a walking animation to work properly.
Yeah, no legs in the metaverse.
All right. So, and the character animations are non-existent. The voxel technology is trashed. And this is literally the company that invented the term metaverse. And then you got DNQ who just, okay, we can write a game about that. Oh, it's spaceships. We're going to do spaceships because cars would have been easier. Let's just be honest.
Man,
right?
Can I stay on this mode of transport real quick? I don't know where it was. Reddit, Discord, somewhere. A guy was like, "Do they have boats in DU yet?" And I immediately thought of Chewie and Hagbard's boat. It's hovers, but dude, you're gonna have to find me a fishing game to get a boat that feels better in the water than that yacht. I don't know who made it, but Chewie and Hagbard is where I got it from. They tweaked the script a little bit, but the fidelity of boats in this game are awesome. But to get to that, it's spaceships in it. By the way, spaceships. That's how I feel. That's how I play. But I think that's what keeps a lot of people from getting in this game is, man, I'm not into space. I really want to build cool stuff, but I'm really not into space, man. I'm not into that whole thing. And then here I am. I'll go 6 months and never leave Alioth. Not anymore, but back in the day, That's interesting, too. It's interesting how folks play the game. And some folks are trying to play it as a space MMO, and then some folks like me, sometimes I forget it's a space MMO. You know what I mean?
I think the biggest single challenge the game has, and I've said it before, is just getting enough players to be enthusiastic about all of the different possibilities of the game. And that's the catch, is to do that you need a lot of people who are it's the typical catch-22. You need a lot. It's easier to find more people to be enthusiastic if you already have enthusiastic people.
That's right.
So
and it's tough to find enthusiastic people outside of the No Friendly Fire podcast. Let me tell you, man. All right, that's a dig. Hey, I will say this. That's a dig because there's a vocal minority, but I see like the positivity punching through on every platform at the end of the day. Like Mega Boss Lore posted, he's getting. Hey, thank you for the follow. Inmion85, but Mega Boss Lord posts on Reddit. You see the love coming, man. Even though we all know sometimes Reddit could be super spicy, extra spicy. So it's tough. You hate to see the cannibalization sometimes. It's a disservice to what those same people want is the game to get better. It really is easier for new players to embrace, especially a game with a tough learning curve like this, when the you are embraced once, or it's easy. I don't know. The community embraces new players better than I've seen any other community. But if you're a new player and you're like, where do I need to go to learn about this game? I went to Reddit. That's the only place I knew to go. Then I found out about the Discord. But even now, sometimes if you're a new player and you go to Reddit, and maybe you catch it on the wrong day, and then you go to the pop, the gen pop on Discord, man, you could feel kind of intimidated to even reach out to folks. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So but I love to see the effort going in for all the people who are trying to reach folks and just are having fun. And this is a good time to plug Cosmos, but Friday Witch has launched a site. It's dual.university.
It is so good.
It's looking really sharp, man. And if you're a new player, you should just go there right now. They got good content that'll really get you started. Just a couple of things you can click into and read through about the things you all wonder when you first saw it. What are talents, and what do I need to be doing with them right now? And what should I even do to make Quanta? Somebody asked me that in my YouTube. Like, what would I even do now as a new player? So man, I love to see folks trying to find ways to reach out and just promote what we're doing. And there are folks who are just in maybe their tunnel vision of just bliss, and for them it's dual universe. So I love to see that. I love to see it shining through, regardless of what you might call the meta census about the game. And you know what I mean? If you go to any major platform who's covered this game, overpowered.com, Big Fry on YouTube, it's just dual universe, and it's like, but look at everything we're doing. If we could just get past that initial shock, I get it, 21 million, blah 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 blah. They made some decisions folks didn't like, maybe some that, and there is some accountability to all that. Now, I'm not dismissing that. I'm not dismissing the accountability piece, but man, it's a really good game that folks are really having fun in. It would be nice for everybody if that was the first impression folks could get was just seeing like Hadron or like the Nautilus at Taylor Budd's place, man, it would be a different story. I think sometimes I feel like that optimistically,
I agree with you. It was actually, I was been lurking general past couple days just because I can't. If I find with this game, if I got cut up in general, I don't get any of my project working done. So I've just been lurking the past couple days. But we had somebody basically say, "Hey, yeah, I'm back. Haven't been playing in a while. Have no, lost everything, starting over clean. Can someone just pick me up and drop me off over here so I don't have to walk that?" And someone said, "Well, hell, no. Hang on, I'll just come give you a ship." And then, somebody's, okay, well, and it basically within like 20 minutes, this individual returning player had a brand new ship that was fully buffed, had all of the mining rigs at their brand new tile fully buffed, and had a couple of designs that they could work for towards building their first space station. And a list of resources that they could use just to get themselves going. And I see that all the time.
Yeah.
So,
It's an awesome new player experience. If you can get hooked up, I'll tell you, sometimes I'll go through the forums, I'll see folks dropping in, new players dropping in, and one thing I've said in the visitors channel in Discord, I said, hey, if you're a new player, hit me up, man. I mean, I'm just looking for something to do. Hell, I'll run out and bring you, drop you some Quanta, some shit, whatever you're into. We can work through it. And one of the guys reached out, and I was like, just let me know when you're playing. And you guys know my place. I'm usually more active on the weekend, so I was like, hey, on the weekend I'll pop in. And I reached out, and he's like, hey man, somebody already came by, dropped me a ship. All I did was ask for a little bit of help in the help channel. And so it's awesome to see, man. For a game this hard, for a learning curve where the things, your possessions and your skills and stuff, that's really what the game is, for so many people to be willing to just start new players off like a tier above what you would start off if you were solo. It's just awesome to see, man. And so I hate sometimes that new players might not be able to know how to get to that resource. And so but I love that folks, like really all of us in this channel, I feel like are trying to always continuously help new players. But folks like Hadron, folks like Cosmos, pretty much literally everybody, BootyBonzai and PVR are huge with helping a new community. And now that I'm in their organization, I see the PVR chat. It's in French, but sometimes. But I know that's folks helping out. I think it's awesome.
Just to clarify on that, PVR, we're a pretty big org, and we've actually expanded into a French community. So we have like our English, and then we have a French community as well that we're building.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't frame that right, but yeah, it's awesome that you guys have reached out to a community that otherwise might not have a place to communicate that way, right? So it was a good thing saying that I see it in French, but no, plenty of English speakers, all kind of speakers. It doesn't really matter. PVR's done a great job to reach out, so I love to see that, man. I love it.
Yeah, I have to agree with 902 that, NQ can't afford to let this game fail. And with them working on other projects, I think they're, they're describing themselves as a metaverse company. So you would think that of like multiple different games. So I could see them keeping the dual universe and not letting it, not deleting it or getting rid of it, and just building on that and expanding their game library, and they'll come out with newer and better games based off the technology that they've already developed. So I think there's going to be a lot of good things coming from them. They were talking about using Unreal Engine, which I'm assuming Unreal Engine 5, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's fantasy right there, right?
Yeah, and then if you see what's going on with AI, they talked about incorporating AI into it, and like there's that it's a demo called Replica where you walk around New York City talking to NPCs on the streets that use AI, and you talk to them in your voice, and they talk back to you.
Yep,
crazy.
So I mean, I think the games that they're going to be working on are going to be really amazing too, and it's going to add to the library. And I think I don't think Dual Universe is going anywhere. I think it's and their continued development of Dual Universe might be slow because of their limited staffing, but I think it's still going to continue. It's just going to be really slow,
and I'm totally okay with that. That's actually ideal for me.
And question on that subject of Unreal. Now, I've only heard it as rumor at the moment. So, has anybody else had any concrete discussion whether a dev have mentioned it or talked about it, or is it simply at this point just rumor?
Go ahead.
It came out in one of their posts that they're working on 3 new projects, and they mentioned Unreal Engine, which I'm assuming Unreal Engine 5, and also using AI technology.
Yeah. I'm sure
that
you've all
specifically held towards Dual Universe. Sorry, I'm interrupting you. Go ahead.
No, go. You were asking. Quick, go on.
I was asking if that was particularly implied towards Dual Universe, or was that implied as
on their new project?
New projects are.
Yeah.
So Dual Universe may not ever be.
Well, replacing a game engine is a major undertaking, but I'm sure you've all heard the unfolding disaster of PR disaster that is the Unity licensing change.
Oh yeah, boy, they messed up there, didn't they?
So I know DU is going to be one of those people who's going to take a serious kick in the shins, based on the number of copies sold on Steam, for example, under the new licensing, because that licensing change, by the way, is intended to be retroactive.
Ooh. but I did hear they were walking it back substantially after the fallout that has been substantial as well.
Jen Sterling pointed out that, game companies always do say something outrageous, then walk it back, wait 6 months, and do it again when everyone's forgotten about it, and then they get away with it. It's sort of the MO. EA's basically perfected that technique.
Yeah.
And so, a few major developers have straight up said that they're just going to abandon Unity because at the point that Unity has been willing to even consider this without discussing it with the community first, you can't trust them. So I could see, while we haven't heard anything concrete, I can almost guarantee you there's a conversation that has gone on to the effect of what do we need to change for every game we have to get away from, I don't know if they're
what do we need
Unity.
to do to evolve into this other thing, right? Like, what do we got to do to get there?
Hey, real quick, guys, I gotta say something. Yep. A legend entered the chat. Desorm says the community is great, but the devs need to give up the data collecting and focus on the actual game. They do that, and I will be back. But let me say this before you guys respond. Daz, I want you back. I wish the community is great was all you needed. You know what I mean? But I understand. I completely understand. But hey, man, good to see you. I appreciate you being here. We miss you. Need you back, man. You make some awesome stuff. You're a big contributor to the game. We love it.
If we were only enough for you.
Look at us, Daz.
Hey, Daz.
Why can't we just be enough? Why can't we
I know.
be enough?
The new guy here, by the way, has no idea who Daz is, but apparently with all the falling and weeping that's going on, you're pretty damn awesome. So, that said, I'm still going to poke you in the eye. So every game does data collection. Even games that say they don't do data collection do data collection, because that's the only way you know what parts of your game the players are using. So I don't think data collection in a game is automatically evil, unless you're talking about something that's specifically markety folks that I haven't heard of. I wouldn't be too stressed about data collection.
It sounds like it's a little more than, but I don't want to put words into Dazorm's mouth. But I know Daz is a pretty reputable. He's a pretty reputable dude. So he's one of the staples over at the Dome.
Okay, cool.
Back in the day, in his auto shop, Daz Auto. Man, it's so good.
Doing the Mustangs.
Well,
and the Chargers.
The Challengers. The Challengers.
Yes, that's it. Yes.
Absolutely wonderful.
I showed one of those to my sweetheart. She's a total fan of the Chargers. Yeah, okay. All right, now I know who Daz is. Got it. Cool.
Yeah, we need guys like that back, for sure. It's interesting, when you talk about legends. I'm hoping that there's new legends emerging, as we speak. Maybe they landed on Haven last week, and maybe they're really taken to the voxel precision tool, something that I'm hoping one day I'll take to eventually. But man, it's you hate to see folks who are have put such great content into the game. Luckily though, all his stuff is still around, so that's a plus. That all his stuff is still around. We can still enjoy it. I still got my Challenger. I loved his event where a number of folks, ton of submissions, like a custom Challenger contest. That was a lot of fun. So yeah, we miss you, Daz. Hope NQ does the things that satisfy you, because apparently the community is not enough. And that's my last dig on that. I'm sorry about that.
That might be his last, but it means I can keep going, right?
Yeah, dude, go for it, man. Go for it.
The community is really what keeps me around. Like, there's been a lot of bullcrap that's happened in the beta and stuff that we had to deal with, those that are around. And yeah, there's been times that were very questionable for me that I wanted to continue with it or not. But at the end of the day, it was the community that was enough for me to just keep coming back and, supporting the community. And like I said from the very beginning, if the game fails, it's not going to be because I didn't play a part in trying to help make it a success.
Oh yeah.
It's not going to fail because I didn't support everyone. If it fails, at least I did my part.
Yeah.
Whatever I could do to promote the game and help the player base out and the community out. And
yeah, man.
I'll be here for them till the day they close. Just because, as long as there's a single person in this game that may need help, or they crash their ship and they need someone to come pick them up, I'll be there to help them.
That's
I'll be
awesome.
there.
Yep.
That is
Same
awesome.
here. Same here.
I'm a meanie, so I won't be.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that from you. Drax, you're doing your part, man. All of us here, I feel like, are doing our part. We're doing our part, like the meme, man. We're doing it, dude. We're doing it. We definitely
do
are.
it.
Hey, I want to say, first time chat from Aguntas. Hey, welcome in, man. Let me tell you something. I almost wish, because Gotchar won't come back to DU unless it was him coming back to exactly what Dad said, unless it was him giving one more salute to the community, right? So my dream is we could just get Gotchar to just hang out with us. Somebody give him an alt to log on to, right? And just at least come hang out with us for like a couple hours. I think that'd be a good time. He don't have to even talk about DU, man. Just to have him around. He's cool to hang out. I know a bunch of you guys hung out with him for hours on the stream. He was shirtless that whole time. He's still doing it, man. He's playing some other stuff. He still hasn't put a shirt on. But nah, man, I loved Gotchar. MNC has just built an element library. It's got all the elements and big. Shout out to Hadron and Cosmos for hooking him up with all the hard stuff to get. He's got every element out there, and that's kind of a nod to Gotchar's place. He built it all in wood, very similar to what Gotchar's place looked like. So,
awesome.
Man, I'd love to have Gotchar back, but go check out, you can VR Element Library, and it'll take you right to it out there in the desert. MNC stood it up. Every element in the game. It's awesome.
Very friggin' cool. I love stuff like that.
So Grim Reaper, and I'm not on a giant ship. This is actually Market 6. I'm at Market 6 on Alioth, and so this is a giant tarmac that has some ships coming in and out.
I kind of think it's sad that the newer players coming in will never know what Gottmart was. They'll never get to experience Gottmart.
Yeah, it's wild.
But
really
you got Costco.
You got Costco, man. You got Costco.
There was another thing that was events that happened in beta that people are never understanding if they ever hear it. The giant toilet paper rolls at
yes, man. Those were a marvel to look at.
Or they'll never get to experience mining a mega node.
Yeah, that's true. Or building a base in a node, doing that cool stuff. Or I hear Marquis he just left the nodes in some he had some setup where he had left the ore out so you could see it. But those were cool, man. I gotta say, I'm a fan of the auto miners, and you can still go out and get the experience on asteroids, but there are parts of it that I do miss for sure.
I always kept saying they should bring it back. They should bring it back, territory mining, and maybe not on the planets they have, and not on all the planets, but make like a lava planet, something that has a reason to reset. So every so often, like there's like an event or some shit that just wipes the planet, and then it just resurfaces it, and either refreshes the nodes or does something, re-rolls its nodes or something like that. Yeah, and I know that can be.
Hey, Grim Reaper, one first time chat, but he's asking a question here. Is this something a player built? So Grim Reaper, of all the things you could see in this game, 99% are built by players. This is the 1% that is not. Fortunately, this is built by Nova Quark. Just to go to the map mode, you see where kind of those purple hexes, those are theirs. They built all the stuff in there. We built all the stuff outside of it.
To be fair, a player did actually build that stuff, and Q just uses it.
Okay.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Is that right?
But,
shed some light, man. Who built the market?
Like I don't know who built the market. I know that there's. I used to know the name. I forget who it is now, but someone built the exchange. Well,
that's
well,
awesome.
Damn, that's cool.
That. Yeah,
that
is cool. But this is the premier market
because the original markets, if you remember, weren't where they are now. The original markets were at the starter area.
I
Right?
don't.
Like that's where it was.
Oh, I thought this
So
was the original starting area. Well, for me,
no.
it was.
So open your map up, go to your map, and if you look at the map, you'll see where you're sitting at, and then one building right next to it, another building.
So okay.
See that building?
Yeah.
That's where that's the original starting location. You would start the game, and that's where the market was. The markets are still there. The doors are closed, but there's still the market. And I think they might have took the machines out, but that's where the markets were right there.
Okay. All right.
Okay, that's
you
cool.
know how, the pad that you're standing on. That's all they had is one pad, one single XL pad for everyone to park on, and it was too busy.
Yeah, I remember the days of one pad. It was.
So they expanded it. Yep.
It was cool. I thought it was like a mini game to go to the market. I think for some people it still is. Even with this, yeah. I will say this. This is something I'm gonna miss. It happened post launch, and I was around for a lot of beta, but post 0.23, so I missed the days of like super heavy population. But you got to experience that at launch, kind of for the first maybe 8 to 10 weeks of launch. When you landed here, there was multiple people leaving. There were multiple people landing. So this is what it is now. Which, hey man, this is. I mean, look, this is what it is. But it's that was a fun part of DU. I will always remember. For the first few weeks, man, coming in here, it was chaos. Like it was just wild.
Yes,
there were so many ships coming in and out of here. But
also remember, even if it's built by the devs, it doesn't mean it was generated by a computer, right? Like it was a dev actually built that. They just built it in creative mode.
Yeah.
No, the game's not shutting down, Grim Reaper. It's where it's gonna be, right? The hype's off, and now it's at its continuous state, which obviously, as we've been talking, is not where it was in previous points. But no, it's not shutting down by any means. We're just speculating, right? We're a group of players that want to keep it going, man, because we love just being here. So just for us, I know there's a lot of asks, but I think the big statement from the group that's talking right now, and a lot of you guys, honestly, is, hey, at least leave the lights on, man, and just keep it going. But so no plans to shut her down. We're just kind of reminiscing because we have seen it where it was different. It was a different experience. But that got started with talking about Gotchar, a player who's no longer here, but he was a huge part of the community, as big as Geo, as big as Shamsy, as big as Stormsteel. My boy Stormsteel, I've been missing him, man. Every now and then I sneak up to his place to see if he's still tinkering around. He is. Not at the rate he used to be, though. Dude was out of control back in the day, man.
There's only a handful of people, a handful of streamers and builders that are that were still there from beta, and Geo is the only alpha player that still streams alpha streamers. As far as I know, I don't think. I think AD started in beta.
Yeah, he's a beta dude.
He started early beta along with me, and then Geo is one of the few people that were streaming in alpha.
Yeah,
if he was allowed to, when he was allowed to, right? Like
NDAs and stuff.
NDAs and stuff like that, of course. But when he was allowed to stream it, I think he was the only person that held over from it.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And of course, they were only allowed to play for a certain X amount of time during alpha, right?
Yeah,
they had a time limit of how long they could play.
Mm-hmm.
Then the servers got shut down.
Yeah, that's pretty typical.
Which is the whole reason why, if you look at Geo's name, it's Geo, and no one else can get a 3-letter name because he's held over from beta from alpha when they're allowed to have 3-letter names.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's interesting.
I tried to bribe them. To let me take the S off of my name. Have Drack.
Are you serious?
And they were like, "No, we can't do that."
So you're Drack and not Drax. You're only Drax because you had to be.
Yeah, because I had to have an S.
From this day forward, I will refer to you as Drack because I've been calling you Drax for like over a year.
Yeah,
now, man.
Yeah.
My fault, bro. Now I know.
Like, I was
Man.
like, why
Today
can't
I
I take
learned.
this damn S off? And nope, we can't let you do that. Why? It's just an S. How's that going against anything? An S.
Yeah.
I was
Hey.
like, even call it through Geo into the bus. I'm like, Geo has it. Why can't no one else get? Yeah, and I'm not even asking for a 3-letter word. I just want to take the fucking S off my thing. Sorry, language. I'm sorry.
Hey. I see.
And
I see.
they're like, no.
I see
And,
Booty plugging the glass maze. Look, next week, guys. Next week, 2 p.m. Next Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
I'm opening that maze up. We got a prize pot of 400 million Quanta right now. So yeah, there's stuff still going down, including the glass maze next week. But here's what's crazy that kind of gets lost in the shadow of the gloom and doom. Let's just say, to sum it all up, man, on Friday you can go to the Dome. On Saturday, you can go race. Tonight we got a race. Next week, I'm doing the maze. On Sunday, you can go to Voxel Jam. There's literally events happening at a frequency to where you got Booty's racing first Saturday of every month. You can go fly jets over at Star Watch, man. Top Gun racing. So there's a lot of events that happen at a frequency that. The thing is, if you enjoy those events, there's plenty of stuff for you to do, man. That's, I think, the original vision, the player-created content, right? Not even talking about what Drax is doing with the ships and how that contributes, but, man, I think there's a healthy number of things that are out there to do, even in a game, relative to the game's state and how many people are in. You can still find stuff to do, for sure.
I agree with you. And I think that's one of the things that I know the first time I played Elite Dangerous, I almost bounced off it because, you kind of literally, back then you sort of just got dropped off in a random space system with a broken ship and no guns, immediately wind up in Hawk so you can get a pair of guns, and go. Well, go where? Well, wherever you want. Well, okay, but where's that? Because you don't know anything about it. And so you just have to get in. The problem with sandboxes is, by definition, is that it's up to you what's interesting. You figure it out. Mm-hmm. And for a lot of people who are coming from other main MMOs, that can be a bit of a headspace challenge.
Yeah. Yes. And it's a barrier. It's a huge barrier. If you don't know already, right? If you can't look at this game and hear, I can make anything I want, and you don't already generate like a week or a month or a year of content for yourself, the game can be a struggle. Hey, let me on that note, I thought about this because I see this a lot, and we've got the out there in space, you can go fight over the what do you call these things? The alien cores, right? Where you can get plasma, and I think. The way you guys know how PvP is in this game, and for those of you guys that don't, it's unique to Dual Universe. It's very, I don't even know how to describe it because I'm not good at it. It's not something I'm super into, but they did make these places out in PvP spaces you could go contest over. I wonder, and I hear people say it would be great if we had something to fight over. I hear that all the time. That's the problem with PvP. We don't have anything over to fight over, and I'm like, aren't those alien cores what you fight over? But it sounds like that's not servicing the need. Why is that? Why is there not more PvP around those alien cores?
Because when people say PvP, they don't mean EVE Online ship versus ship combat or World of Warships ship versus ship combat. Most people, when you say PvP, think Call of Duty Modern Warfare. They think PUBG. Mono a mono, to misuse the phrase with a bad accent. And so there's nothing to fight over because there aren't cap zones that you can use infantry and heavy armor on. That's really what most people say, that there's nothing to do for PvP in this game, I think.
So let me ask something.
The big flaw with those alien cores is the fact that if you decide you want to go to the alien core, right, Orvin?
All right.
You can't.
Why?
You can't go do it because you would never stand a chance to go do it.
Well, tomorrow night I'm gonna show. Let's be hypothetical. Let's be hypothetical. Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah. What if I just showed up with 100 folks? Why not?
Yes.
Me and 100 folks.
That would be what you need to do, is 100 folks.
All right.
And yes, you would then be able to take the ownership of it. Then
Which is not
you have,
realistic, but I'm just saying it can be
but
done. But you see
the
the
biggest
extremes you have to go
problem
to.
you'd
Okay.
have is maintaining those 100 folks. That's the biggest problem with our alliance right now. Is I'm part of the alliance, right? I am not for Legion even in the slightest. I support them as just another member of the community and stuff like that, and that's what they wish to do. But they're just very hard. Unlike the alliance and stuff like that, Legion is very set up and very locked down on what they do. They train constantly as a group and they practice as a group. And a smaller group of people, which is what let's face it, at this point, a lot of groups are. It's not hundreds of people together. It's smaller groups of 20, of like 10 or 20 people
And
that play
those can't get
together
it
as
done,
one
huh?
group, and they can't get it done. Yes, they can contest it, and they can make it difficult for Allegiant, but at the end of the day, how much can you sustain and maintain? And that's where people
Yeah,
complain
and
because they
yeah,
need more than just an alien core that they know they're never going to be able to keep for long term.
I get
At most,
that.
they may get like one or two plasmas out of it before Legion just comes over and just overruns them.
So I heard that having loot some pinatas out there, right, in PvP space, that would be something where Legion doesn't have to feel like if they don't want to participate, they don't have to, right, because it's not about alien cores. Um, but like something that some folks could. So here's my idea, fellas. Just tell me what's shoot holes in this for me. I put a large space core out in the middle of PvP space. It won't be found for a while. You guys know, if I'm not somewhere frequently traveled or right outside of PV safe zone, it's not going to be found. And then I
Space is big.
broadcast that message out and say there's whatever in here that makes folks immediately go, I'm going to get that thing. Let's say I make it a box lootable to all. Let's say, so somebody's gonna go there, and I guess you can shoot. Can you blow up my large construct out in PvP space?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so the game would have to be. I would love to, from a PvE standpoint, set up a game to allow PvPers a reason to go get interested in it. Right? See where I'm going with this? And if any of you guys are interested in doing that, just for the hell of it, right? Just to give, for one point in time, some other reason to go shoot at folks other than the alien cores. This has been done, right? This is not novel. But I'd be interested in setting up some type of, I don't know, capture the flag game maybe. I don't know how we could do it, but it'd be fun to play in that type of way out in PvP space. So there's I don't know enough about, or I haven't enough savvy in the space to be able to understand what might be fun out there. But if you guys want to help me scheme like that, or out there listening, or interested in doing something like that, hit me up, man.
Easy way to do it. Excess core with an excess container, and you put a database module in it, and you just use a cheap little piece of Lua script to write a 5-digit code onto it. Anybody who knows anything about Lua can get the code out, but that means you actually would have to be able to go and physically, board the thing and pick up the data module and take it home. And whoever can tell you what the code is, you'll send them a check for how much ever in game.
Yeah, I'm thinking something like that. Yeah,
that would be dirt easy, because even if somebody decides to be a brat and blow the thing up, it's not like
you blow all the stuff up.
a billion in gold goes up in smoke or something, right?
Yeah.
But that would be
so you can't. The loot pinata's got to be a loot IOU.
Yeah.
You found the ticket. Now come back
exactly.
to a safe place and claim your reward.
Right.
All right. Maybe this can grow legs.
So, do you guys remember Gold Star? That loot ship that they had in beta?
They actually did it again. They did it after release, because I wasn't a beta player, and I remember them doing it. Yep.
A player could actually set something like that up. Just build a wrecked ship, put it out in space, and then just put you'd have set dispensers on it, and have that they can go there and claim so much scrap, so much material or whatever, and or do something like that. You could even do it. If you do it in PvP space, that would bring people out there and possibly set up a thing for PvP.
Yeah.
Another thing Nova Quark did, and I thought was really cool, was they basically put a bunch of players together, built themselves an L-Core gunboat, and packed the cargo hold full of gold, and said, "We're flying from here to here by slow boat. Come at us, bro." And
that would also be fun.
And that turned into a big three-way fight. Now, back in the day when that happened, that was before the changes to the PvE system where big guns couldn't hit small ships. So they actually had to have a couple of escort vessels to deal with fighters, because the main guns on an L-Core ship couldn't hit anything. But that's not that big a deal anymore. Big guns now hit small ships. So that would be a fun thing to do for a bunch of us as a stream, for example, maybe of either this or a special event. Everyone throw $1 million in the pot or a couple million in the pot. We build an L-Core, take it out there, and we do a gun run, haul some cargo back and forth with the idea of, if you can get it from us, it's yours. Because what they actually had happen when NQ did that was at one point they had a three-way fight going on. They had one group attacking them and another group attacking the first group to destroy the first group so that the second group could then attack them and take the prize. So it really got squirrely there for a little bit of it.
Sounds
I can't
like
remember
it could get interesting.
Yeah,
but
that's another way to promote PvP in a way that's fun. That's a do something, and again, it's community content.
Yeah, Devox says you could spread it. You could put more points of interest out there. I always am interested in it, but as a where PV building is my main game loop, right? It's just hard to, when I do have time to play, not spend it doing that. But I totally enjoy the PvP aspect. And not even necessarily the actual mechanics of PvPing. I think I submit to whatever those are for the game, but just the, the fact that Legion's determined to hold on and has a system that can, and that it would, to ensure complete victory, you'd have to have it. Sounds like unexperienced. You'd have to have about 100 people with you. It's pretty interesting, but it also sounds real interesting to do some events out in PvP space to get the juices flowing. The death race that Orby and Leafall do. That kind of it's out in PvP space. The folks show up and take shots, and I don't know. It's fun, man. It's fun. It's the first time I ever got shot down was doing that race. So I would definitely, as somebody who pretty much hangs around the beach making buildings and flying around looking at people's stuff. That'd kind of be a way I might want to create some content out in PvP space, and it'd be fun to just sit back and watch it all go down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, guys, we have been going for about, I've got to set, not quite 2 hours yet, maybe an hour and a half, because we pre-gamed a little bit there.
I got your uptime for the stream at 3.5 hours.
Yeah, well, it's not been the podcast the whole time, but
fair enough. Yeah.
For the sake of the podcast that you will see when the day comes that I've made it to posting episode 5 out there on YouTube, we're getting there, man. But I promise I'm working hard on that. I was surprised at what all entails putting 2 hours worth of content up on YouTube in one. But we're gonna make it happen. It's fun. I appreciate the engagement. 902, you kind of been my wingman through a lot of these. I appreciate that. Booty, I'm glad we had a chance to catch you on a Saturday, man. It's awesome, and we'll keep doing this. Drax, unexpected surprise, a wonderful surprise. Really healthy group in here today, man. I've enjoyed it a lot, to say the least. And but. I think we're quite done yet, because I've got to find out. What time is the race, man. Van Herk, hook me up. What time are we racing today? We still got a huge event going a little later today, and I don't know. I'm assuming 5:30. Yeah, man. We've had a healthy crowd. I gotta say thanks to Taylor Bud, dropping off everybody over at his stream. Thanks to Hondro dropping off everybody, and thanks for Drax dropping off the crew. So we got a healthy group here that enjoy the game. So it's always fun. We can get
Well,
a lot of
I
folks around.
figures like, you know what? I want to support AK in the podcast, get some people in there. So
Heck
I'm like,
yeah,
I can
man.
always start up stream after he's done, and go again until later night, and
Well, look,
get everyone chatting and talking and getting the community together was more important than me streaming and showing people building, right?
I hear that. Well, man. Well, hey, man. I could raid you back if you want to get fired up here. I see Tony's communicating with me in Disc. What time is the race, man? I need to know.
Now, which race is that?
So this is week 3 of the first ever Formula DU Cup. So we've raced for 2 weeks now, 4 different races, and this will be week 3, the conclusion. I think there's 5 solid teams out there racing, so about 10 plus drivers out there every week so far, and it's just been incredible. I mean, it's just been you like you said earlier. There's things that you just don't dream would happen, even in a sandbox game. And here I am racing around a track that's got a video board you could follow along as everybody goes around the track. It's just ridiculous. You would never dream it, but we're out here doing it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that is
man.
So awesome.
Hey, AK, I'm gonna head out to my Discord, and I thank you for having me again. I appreciate you letting me come in and hang out with you.
All right, man. We'll be seeing you soon here.
Later.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Guys, thanks for being here. Yeah, first Saturday of every month, we're going to be racing Top Gun. Booty, how many races do you have? You got so many races, dude. Now,
only one that's officially running. Still working on the rest.
Okay. Well, I think Mission 2 was really, really fun last weekend. So that felt really official to me, man. That felt
well, with Top Gun, there's actually 11 courses, 11 different races we could do with those.
That is
amazing, man. That's awesome.
But yeah, the first 2 that we had were amazing, and they were tons of fun. The first one, doing the actual Top Gun race through the snow canyons is incredible and a lot of fun. And then the Market 6 air show, that was a lot of fun. I mean, it was just crazy seeing like everybody flying around like a bunch of flies, and like it's like you're flying and you got somebody flying like across the top of you and then down below you, and
yeah,
that was great. Yeah, at 902, I wish you were there. I mean, you would have had fun. But yeah,
fun,
first Saturday every month, free token ships. So
yeah, that. By the way, thank you so much. That is awesome that you are doing that. I mean, you know, those you know, conservatively, that's a 5-10 million ship, and you're just giving them to people so they can come out and play a fun game. You know, play a fun game in a fun game. So that is dope. Thank you so much for doing that.
And to kind of tell you guys how that all came about is, I think it was like week 4, week 5, somewhere in there. I got sick. I called off of work. And the next day was a day off, so I had 2 days. And I've always been a Robotech fan.
Oh, yeah.
And I've always, been like, oh man, I would love to do the Veritech Valkyrie. I've been wanting to do that since beta. So, here I am sick, and I started designing it and started building it. It took me about a day and a half to build it, and a half a day to test it out. But then it's gone through improvements over the last 6 months, and but then I had this incredible ship, and I was always planning on doing a race with it. But I was thinking, okay, somewhere in Nitro City, I gotta find a little spot where I can do the start of a race, and then do these. But then I was like, I never really had my own personal base, and so then I thought, well, I want my own base, and then I started thinking I can make it like a military base, like a military naval base, and then I could start the race there with these fighters, and then the whole thing with, hey, this would be like a great Top Gun kind of thing, and kind of make it a theme. And so then I started building my base, and just been slowly working on everything, and it is now what it is. So
Yeah,
and
it's
I think
amazing.
it's a really great event. I hope more and more people come out. Even NQ Neota has her own little fighter there too. So
That's fantastic.
you
Yeah.
can park the ship there, and I like I said, I give away free ships. So, and these are amazing ships, and they're very fun to fly.
Yeah, can
And
confirm. By the way,
Yeah.
I'm a flight sim junkie. These things are dope.
It's one of the best events going in DU, and we
Yeah.
appreciate you doing
Yeah.
it, Booty. And if you guys haven't been out there, go check it out. It's in my week 49 recap I posted a few days ago. Us flying around at this very market. It really is. Well, it was a lot of fun. I know it's going to be fun every time we do it. Every race has been fun. The canyon is epic, man. I think I'm going to make another video of that, and just maybe I can get a few guys up and we can get some shots of us ripping that canyon low and fast.
Do you want to do that one again on the next race?
Let's do it, man.
All right, then we'll do the canyon run then.
It's a pretty intense race, it really is.
It is. And the most frustrating checkpoint in the whole damn game is you spend 5 minutes turning and burning low level,
if not the most deadly levels.
Snowflakes whipping past your canopy. You do that pop up into low orbit, and then I spent, I don't know, I think 5 minutes trying to get the nose of my ship close enough to that damn checkpoint.
Yeah, man.
Slow the hell down.
It makes or breaks you, though. There was a couple in space, especially that first one, man. But it's a lot of fun. It's just a good time. If you haven't considered racing, come check it out.
And I just posted the Top Gun video I made, and a lot of that flying in that video is swerving flying, doing
Fantastic.
some amazing flying in that.
It's good stuff, man.
All
Well,
right.
hey, Drax is up, guys. Booty 902. I appreciate you guys, man. I appreciate y'all hanging out.
Oh, this is fun. Thank you so much for the invitation.